Hi, this is Mary Jo Tinlin from Teaching Your Toddler. Today, our guest is John Waller, who is a singer, songwriter, husband, and father to 10 children. He's a Georgia native and the former frontman for According to John. He also has a new album coming out soon that he has collaborated with his children on, and we are going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about how it is to blend a family with adoptive children, and all about his faith and singing and everything that is really interesting. And I hope you also very much enjoy the special guests who appear at the end of the show. So thanks for joining us today, and enjoy the show. Hello, this is Mary Jo Tinlin from the Teaching Your Toddler show, and today our very special guest is singer, songwriter, father, and husband, John Waller. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to talk to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and your family.
Okay. Well, that's loaded. My wife. I've been married to my wife, Josee, for 26 years, and we have 10 children. So I consider that the most important part of me is my family. Our oldest is 24, our youngest is 2, and so we definitely love children and love each other. And I've been a Christian artist for a lot of years. I've done it, in different capacities. I was in a band called According to John for many years. I've been a solo artist since 2007, and I've had songs in some faith-based films. My most popular song was in a movie called Fireproof, which is about marriage, and my song was called While I'm Waiting. I had
Love that song.
Yeah, thank you. I still love it after all these years, which is a good thing. And then I had a song in the movie War Room, which is called Crazy Faith, and that song was kind of really sums up our family and just how we've lived our lives is crazy faith. We've trusted God where it just looked crazy to everyone else.
And you have an adoption version of that too, right?
I do. In fact, the adoption version was the original version, which was inspired by our adoption story. And then when they decided they wanted to use the song in the movie, I made it a little more, for a general audience,
Mm-hmm.
as far as walking by faith. But yeah, so I think that's kind of me at a 30,000 foot view.
Excellent. Well, that's a lot. I understand that I live in Colorado. You were out here for a while, right?
Yes. In fact, that's where I wrote While I'm Waiting, was out in Colorado.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. So we were out there for, 3.5 years, and I was a worship pastor. And this was after According to John broke up, and that was kind of the end of a kind of a heartbreaking end to a chapter in my life because I had tried so many years to achieve a dream with music, and it just didn't happen. And so I took an opportunity to plant a church with a friend of mine in South Denver. Actually, I lived in Castle Rock, Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
and then we planted the church just south of Denver, and that's during that season is where the Lord really brought a lot of healing and restoration to me, and then a lot of songs flowed out of that, and one being While I'm Waiting. In fact, that was the last song I wrote before I finally got signed to a record deal, and so I definitely understand, the pain of waiting on God. Sometimes it takes so many years to see God, do something that He's maybe put on your heart, and that's what He put on my heart. So yeah, I don't. I'm chasing rabbits now. I'll let you
No, no, that's good.
have it back.
It's so I'm just thinking, it's so amazing. Even though, like you said, it was a sad season, it took you in such an amazing direction, right? I mean, so you wrote while I'm waiting before Fireproof came along. They put it in the movie versus you writing it for the movie.
Yes, I did not write it for the movie. In fact, when I finally got the record deal, it was the last song that I played for my producer, and we decided to record it. It seemed like a no-brainer. It was a song that I wrote maybe in 5-7 minutes. I mean, it was,
Oh my
but
goodness.
it was in the pain of waiting, because I had already recorded an album independently while I was out there, of the songs I'd written in Colorado, and they were just great. I mean, the songs were the best songs I'd ever written. One of them, I was able to get Mark Hall of Casting Crowns to sing on a song called "The Blessing," which is what led to me getting the open door for uh, for a record deal. And I actually signed with the same label they are still on today. And you know, but after I recorded the album, there was kind of a period of silence where nothing happened, even though I'd sent out the music to a lot of people and got a lot of great response. But then it just kind of went quiet for about 5 or 6 months, and I thought, wow. I mean, I felt like maybe that I've been led on. I felt very disillusioned and discouraged, and someone encouraged me to keep being faithful and just keep trusting, and what other option did I have? Just to quit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to quit on the Lord. And so I just kept going, and I wrote that song in the midst of that unknowing, that pain of waiting. And then the next week I was on a plane to Nashville, and then it happened. And then we put the album out. I had some my first single did really well. It was the duet with Mark Hall. Then after that, my songs just were not doing well at radio, and I couldn't get on the radio. I was on tour with Casting Crowns, and that's when I got a call about While I'm Waiting. And it was from Alex Kendrick, the
Mm-hmm.
one of the Kendrick brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and he just left me a message and said how great my song was in the movie, and that they were screening the movie around the country, and the response to that song was incredible. But he didn't tell me what song it was, so I had to guess, which song. And I thought maybe it was one of the radio songs that we were trying to get on the radio. And then finally, I called him back, and he told me it was While I'm Waiting, which was one of the last songs on the album, which was my favorite, but no one had ever commented on it at the label. I'm not sure they even listened to the whole album. And I was so happy to hear that song, which was from the deepest part of me, was in a movie, and I couldn't imagine how that would even look. But when I saw the scene, with that song, I was like, wow, this is something special. And it's still such a impactful song after all these years.
Absolutely. I mean, the purity of it, and probably the rawness of it, probably just really resonated with them, because it's a great song. And before we talk about your collaboration, I have to say that your song "Awakening," the coffee song, I love it. I love that song. I was listening to it this morning. My mug says "Coffee and Jesus" on it, and I just love how it's like the double meaning of it. Wake Jesus, wake me up. You revive me, fill my cup. It's like it just
Yeah.
goes along so perfectly. I just love that song, and I hope everybody listens to it.
Oh, thank you.
So, um, so the real reason we wanted to talk today is because of your recent release that's a collaboration with your daughter, Sophee.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my new project, which the entire album will be out first of 2022, but we've been releasing one song at a time. And the first song, that I released was a song called "But God," and it was kind of coming out of 2020, just with all the fear from the pandemic and so many people, you know, falling into fear, including myself. And so that song was the song I wanted to lead with, because it just says that no matter what happens, there's always a but God for the believer. And so the second song was the one you're speaking of. It's called What My Father Does. And it's a duet with Sophee. She's 16 years old and becoming a senior in high school. But yeah, hey, hold on a second. I'm doing an interview. You guys, can you go back inside? Sorry.
No problem.
This is real life, people. Real life. When you got 10 kids, it's hard to find a place where there isn't someone.
Absolutely.
But yeah, What My Father Does. When I first wrote it, I was like, I just want to get Sophee up in the studio and let her, because she has such an amazing voice.
She does.
Very raspy. It's almost it's almost got a little bit of a Lauren Daigle vibe to it.
Yes, that's it. I was like, it sounds so familiar, and that's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah, ever since she was, a toddler, she had a raspy voice, and I was like, she's gonna be a good singer one day. And so we recorded it, and it's really about the Father, the Heavenly Father, and what He does as a father, and really I tried to pattern my fathering after how He fathers me, and I love the opening line, when I bow in shame because I really messed things up, and I'm like that was just like so me, because I just so many times in my life I feel like, God, I just mess things up, and He lifts my head by my chin, like He takes my chin and He lifts my head, and that's what He does, he He's good. And so I love the idea that it's a duet with my daughter. But it's one of 3 duets on my album. So I have a duet with my oldest son, and then a duet with my daughter Hadley, who's 19.
Oh, wow. How old is your son?
He's 24. He's my firstborn.
He's your firstborn. Okay. Oh, that's so neat that it's really a family project then. Did you write the songs together or sing the songs together?
Now the song with my son, he wrote most of it, and
wow.
he produced it as well. He's extremely talented, and we're actually calling the album A Family Thing. So it's definitely a family thing.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic. So is this is Sophee's first recording as well?
First recording ever. First time ever stepping up to the microphone.
Oh my goodness. Does she sing in like choir, or does she sing at school?
She's just starting to lead worship. My oldest 2, Bailey and Hadley, they are on staff part-time at our church for worship. So they both lead worship, and Sophee is just now starting to, but our church is very slow to not just throw someone on the stage, which I love that, because it's a big responsibility, and a lot of times talent goes before character, and that's not the way it should be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's right. I love that you call it a family thing, and so it's because of the duets. Is there more to the title there than besides your family collaboration?
I guess it's just that I have such a big family, and family is like, I decided years ago that I wasn't going to let my career take me from my family. And if it did, then I was just going to stop doing it. And so now that we did get off the road back, and my family did travel with me quite a bit, but it's difficult, traveling, and it wears on you. So I decided to get off the road in end of 2017. And I took a job out in California as a worship pastor. And so we were out there for 2 years, and we moved back during the pandemic. But, when I decided to record again, I'm like, it's going to be more my family involved. I feel like this is an opportunity to try to start launching my kids into their giftings. And so that's really why I'm doing it.
Oh, that's a great way to say launching into their gifts. That's fantastic. So now with 10 kids, as you said, you range all the way from 2 to 24. You have them in all seasons of life, all phases, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when you put it that way, it overwhelms me.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
But you do have a toddler too, right? Your 2-year-old.
I have a toddler, and wow, she just lights me up. I mean, her name's Journey, and we named her Journey because we've had such Journey Nova Faith Waller just means new journey of faith, and that's what we feel like we're in this season is a new journey of faith. And I'm 50, so having a 2-year-old, I feel like a father, but I also feel like that sense of a grandparent. When I
Mm-hmm.
look at her and I hold her, the only thing is I can't give her back. Like most grandparents are like, all right, take her.
Right.
But she's
Exactly.
amazing. She just, I mean, I don't know what I'd do without her.
Oh, that's that's great. I mean, the good part too is that you have lots of help around you, right? There's lots of kids that can help as well as you and your wife, of course.
Absolutely. And we have 4 daughters. They are 21, 19, 18, and 16. 2 are adopted from Ukraine. And then we have they are actually siblings. And then we have our oldest adopted son is 24 as well. So we have two 24-year-old sons, one adopted, one biological. But our 4 daughters are all, I mean, Journey sees all 4 of them as a mama. I mean, because they take care of her in a different way. And if mom and I want to go on a date, we got one of 4. We're like, you're up. It's your turn.
Nice.
It's great.
That's great. It's so important too that you do, get out together and have that relief, right?
Oh yeah, you have to. You can't. I don't. You can't let your kids come before your marriage, because ultimately that's going to hurt your kids even more. They need you to date each other. They need you to put each other first. It gives them a sense of stability, and our kids have always known that our marriage is going to come first, and we are going to have to get away from them so that we can be a better parent to them.
Absolutely. Um, before I'd love. Do you mind if you talk about the adoption journey you had? So it's from the Ukraine, which is a country that we don't always hear about adoptions happening from. So do you mind talking about that a bit?
You know, I think one of the reasons you don't hear about adoption out of Ukraine is because you really can't adopt babies and younger children very easily from Ukraine. Like say, I don't know about if China's even still open, but for years and years I had lots of friends who adopted in China, and that was where we originally were going to go. We were moving forward with an agency to go to China and get a baby or a toddler, and we had 5 kids at the time, and one night I had a dream that I was in an orphanage, and I knew it wasn't in China, I knew it wasn't in America, but I felt like it was Eastern Europe somewhere. But all the kids in the orphanage were older. There were no young kids. They were all like preteen teenagers. And I see this little girl sitting by herself. There's a crowd of kids around me, and they all want to meet. Kind of talk to me and be around me. But I see this girl by herself, and I ask her what her name is, and she tells me her name's Anna, and that she's 10 years old. And then I wake up and I tell my wife about it. And then that name gets confirmed in supernatural ways throughout the week. We were fasting and praying about adoption at the time. And all this really supernatural stuff was happening. And within that week, we found her, and we pursued, hosting her, which is what there's a lot of programs where you can bring orphans from other countries to your home for the summer or for like a Christmas break. And we signed up to host her with the intention to adopt her. And then that led us down the road finding out she had a brother, and we brought both of them over for the summer, decided to adopt them, and then found out they had another sister in another orphanage that we found out about like a month before we were going to complete the adoption.
Oh, wow.
And we decided sight unseen that we would take her too if she wanted to be adopted. She was 12. And we adopted all three of them. My wife Josee found out we were expecting a couple of days before we flew over there. So we went from 5 to 9 in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
It's a pretty big leap.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow, and it's so amazing too to be able to keep those siblings together. I mean, I can't believe that they were even in separate orphanages and that you reunited them. How amazing is that?
Yeah, it is amazing. And they really didn't they knew of each other, but they didn't. I mean, Anna was like, I think she was about 2 years old when she went into the orphanage. Max was, gosh, he was probably 6. And then Lainey was 4, but Lainey had some vision issues. Like, she's legally blind in one eye. You would never know it. But they sent her to a special orphanage, for seeing and hearing impaired children. And so they knew of each other, but they didn't know each other. And so when we brought them back together, they had to get reacquainted.
Oh, but what an amazing journey that like you were using the word supernatural, but how great that God put that into you. I mean, that dream, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I've told that story, from the stage so many times, and, to the point that my kids were like, we're tired of hearing the story. And I haven't told it in a while, so it is really wild to speak it out loud again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's great. I'm sure that there's probably some challenges with integrating 3 kids all at once together into your family. That was probably a lot of grace within your biological children to be integrated like that, right?
Yeah, it definitely had a lot of challenges over the years, but we were in such a great place now. The girls, they're such a integral part of this family now, and it took years to kind of work through a lot of the issues, and there were tough days. I'm not gonna candy coat it.
Right.
Adopting an older child can come with a lot of challenges, and but we've been very fortunate because they, considering what they had been through, and because it's traumatic to be pulled from your home as a child because your parents can't take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so trauma, is a really strange thing, and it comes out in different ways. And so, we've just learned, how to deal with it, but not perfectly, but we've learned.
Absolutely. Right. It's not dissimilar to blending a family, right? Like when you have not half brothers, but step brothers and things like that. I mean, you do have to, it changes the dynamic. I mean, any kind of change like that's going to change the dynamic, and it's not always easy because we all have our own personalities and our own, agendas and things like that. So I'm sure that's been a lot of a challenge, but it sounds like it's worked out, of course.
Yeah, it has, and I feel very fortunate.
Absolutely.
I've definitely heard, stories.
Hello.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. I didn't call anybody. Did you call somebody? Oh, Dad is on the phone. That's why it's connected.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you speaking to us today. So, John, tell us about how we can find out more about you, how we can find your music, and when how people can find out about your new album.
Yeah, my new album is on all streaming platforms at this point. Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube. I have a ton of videos on YouTube. Just search John Waller and you'll certainly find lots of stuff. And so follow me on Facebook. I have a fan page also on Instagram at John Waller Official.
Excellent. Well, I will absolutely make sure that these links are in the show notes for people so they can find you. I was streaming you this morning on Spotify, so I absolutely can confirm that you are on there. Again, thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about your family and your background and the collaboration with your children. It's very special, and it's wonderful to hear about the strength and beauty of your family. So, John, appreciate you talking to Teaching Your Toddler today, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. This has been the Teaching Your Toddler podcast with Mary Jo Tinlin. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you'll find us on our website at teachingyourtoddler.com, as well as on Facebook at Teaching Your Toddler, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Teaching Toddler. So join us again, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.